Hey there. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the following terms: artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and data science. What do they mean really? So these have been the buzzwords for quite some time now, and everybody talks about it, right? And I know some people who talk about these terms as if they mean the same thing in a lot of times, interchangeably, while actually in reality they aren't. So there are some similarities, of course, but there are also nuances in between what they mean. So let's talk about them today in this video. So the first term is artificial intelligence. The term artificial intelligence itself is like multi-decades old, like easily like 50, 60 years old. And it's a very broad category. And by definition, AI means any system that actually tries and simulates human intelligence. Right? That's a very broad definition of AI, and there will be a lot of systems that exist today that could fall in place. And what is intelligence itself is, sort of subjective, and it has been changing over years. Today we have Alexa, and then we can give it a command, and it sort of responds to us, right? So that's amazing. This wasn't possible like in the last decade, and maybe 40, 50 years back, finding the shortest path would have been one of the complex problem. A lot of intelligence, according to, what was possible then. So by definition, this is a very broad, terminology. Another example I could give is, say, washing machines. You give it some cloths, it spins for a while, and then tells you, this requires 2 cups of detergent for you. So these are all various different applications right in front of us, which all qualify as AI. So let's talk about the next one, machine learning, right? So machine learning is a full subset of AI, as you can see in the diagram. All machine learning is artificial intelligence systems, but there are other AI systems which are actually not part of ML. Now, what is ML? In theory, by the definition of ML, MLs are those machine learning systems or those systems which are not explicitly programmed to solve a particular problem. This is very important, right? Because typically you can give a lot of code, if this then that type of heuristics, which dictates what to do when something happens for a given problem. However, in ML, what is very unique about that is that you give a lot of data and then maybe certain generic algorithms, not really exactly how to solve a specific problem. And then the given sufficient time, the machine learns by itself and then solves the problem that we are trying to solve, which is very interesting. So the next topic is the deep learning or DL. So deep learning is the further subset of ML, and um, it's quite popular in today's technology. Right. So the recent advancements in AI are primarily in the areas of deep learning, and there's a lot of magical applications like the digital assistants like Alexa or autonomous cars or image classification and so many different applications. All of them are actually primarily in the area of deep learning. Before we go to the theoretical definition of deep learning, I would like to also mention about what neural networks are. Right. Neural networks are those systems or algorithms which are meant to sort of programmatically understand the underlying relationships between various forms of data. It's a very broad definition again. Typically, the neural networks are structured in a way of multiple layers. It usually has an input layer and then now an output layer, which is the results. But in between the input and output layers, there are a number of hidden layers. And the more the number of hidden layers, the more complex the network is, both in terms of how do we train them, as well as really deep neural networks can solve more complex problems as well. So, which is why it's very interesting. And most times, which is why DL or the deep learning systems solve really interesting and complicated problems, because deep learning by definition means it employs really deep neural networks to solve problems. So, like I mentioned before, a lot of today's state-of-the-art AI systems are actually deep learning based. So the last topic is the data science. So data science is actually an interdisciplinary field, and it comprises of, say, algorithms or processes or the whole systems, which helps you to extract knowledge or insights, right, from raw data. Let's take some example, like for example, stock market, right? Uh, there is technical analysis and things like that, where given stock market data for a period of time, you have sort of some idea about where the resistance is, where the support is, right? What kind of trend you're seeing today with respect to that particular stock. All of this is extracting knowledge or insights from just data, which is just stock prices over days. On the same way, you could also think about weather data, right? Say in the month of August, and you have weather data in a given geography for over 10 years at the same time of the year, and you can potentially approximate and extrapolate how is the weather going to be this year at the same time on the same location, right? So this is in a way using existing data over a period of time and then extracting some knowledge out of it and making use of it. And that is data science in general. And as you see, data science is also pretty broad. And in fact, there is data science outside of AI, which is pretty much, for example, manual processes, like I mentioned before, stock market analysis or things like that, where there is no really computer system. It could be completely manual systems where people extract information. At the same time, ML or DL or even some portions of AI try and extract knowledge out of data. That's how they learn, that's how they build systems. Except that instead of manually doing it, the systems learn the knowledge from the data and build solutions around it automatically. So these are the broad terms, and hopefully this diagram also gives you a understanding of various relationships between them, how they, what is the subset and what is an overlap between the different topics. And that's all for this topic. See you guys in the next video. Thank you.